Hind and very good afternoon to our Honorable Vice Chancellor Professor Dr. G.K. Thapliyal sir, respected CEO Professor Dr. Salya Raj ma'am, expert speaker for School of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Himgiri Ji University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand Dr. Sarat Pandey sir, Dean Faculty of Education, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, Professor Dr. Sandeep Kumar Sir. Dean Faculty of AYUSH, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, Dr. Abhay Sankar Gowda Sir. Head Department of Education, Faculty of Education, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Meerut, Professor Dr. Anuj Raj Sir. Dignitaries, teachers and students. I extend a very warm welcome on behalf of Faculty of Education and Faculty of AYUSH, Swami Vivekanand Subharti University to everybody joining us online in today's webinar. I am Dr. Shalini Tiwari, Assistant Professor, Department of Education, Faculty of Education, SVSU Meerut, and it is matter of great pride and privilege to have the opportunity of moderating this webinar. We are indeed honored to have the presence of Dr. Sharat Pandey sir, Dean School of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries, Himgiri Ji University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand as the expert speaker. Today is 22nd May, the International Day for Biological Diversity. This day has been adopted as the International Day for Biological Diversity by the United Nations since 2000 in order to mark the adoption of the text of the convention on 22nd May 1992 by the Nairobi Final Act of the Conference for the adoption of the agreed text on the Convention of Biological Diversity. The day is celebrated every year to create awareness about the importance and significance of biological diversity. The Faculty of Education and AYUSH, as of the partner for the organization of this webinar, are committed towards the protection and sustainable development of the flora and fauna which make up our biological diversity. We have the Honorable Vice Chancellor of Swami Vivekanand Subharti University, Major General G.K. Thapaliyal sir, among us, and we are immensely pleased to have sir with us in this webinar. Listening to such an accomplished personality would be a very enriching experience. So, without much delay, I invite our Honorable Vice Chancellor sir to kindly address blessing the audience. Please, sir.
Jai Hind. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. At the outset, I take this opportunity to welcome all the participants, particularly uh, the, the main speaker, Dr. Pandey, who will be speaking on the subject of biodiversity. I welcome you, sir. And I also welcome all the participants who are attending this webinar from various parts of the country. And at the same time, I congratulate and thank the Faculty of AYUSH and the Faculty of Education, Swami Vivekanand Subharati University, for having taken this initiative on an important topic that is the biological diversity in India, especially to commemorate the International Biodiversity Day, which is celebrated or which is observed all over the world on 22nd May 2000, 22nd May every year. First, let me just tell something about why we should observe the Biodiversity Day. What is the requirement? What should we do on this day? First of all, the biodiversity is a very, very, very important for sustenance of life, including human being. Human being will sustain life only when the biological life lives in this on this planet Earth. But if you just think why there is a complete extinction or the extinction of some species happening, including plant and animal species, are on the verge of extinction. It's nothing related to the planet Earth, but it is related to the human being itself. Human being is the main reason, because in the process of evolutionary process of human being, rapid industrialization, rapid urbanization, and now technology advancement, the hunger of human being has grown so much that the human being started thinking that this planet Earth is meant for only for human being, because he being the wisest among all. This thinking of human being, that no other species and no other species of plant and animal who are not useful to him should not stay on this planet Earth, or only those uh, species should stay which are useful to him. So he cultivate the cereals and other agriculture things and domesticate the animals. Those are useful to him. Otherwise, those which are not useful to them, they may have no right to live in this planet Earth. So this is the day we should create an awareness and educate everybody, we human being, that this biodiversity is so important for our own existence. Otherwise, in the process of industrialization and technology advancement and making our life in happy and very easy, one day we will find the complete loss of the biodiversity, and we will not be able to survive on this planet Earth. So this is very, very important day for all of us to ponder upon what are the reasons of losing our biodiversity, what should be done to protect the biodiversity on this planet Earth. And for that, we have a very learned speaker, Dr. Pandey, who will be speaking on this subject. And I'm sure our audience or participants or our all students will be benefited a lot with this webinar. I thank the organizing team, faculty of AYUSH and faculty of education for taking this initiative. And once again, I welcome and thank our chief guest speaker of the day. Thank you once again. Thank you all. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for your kind words. Listening to have was indeed a fulfilling experience, and the audience must have immensely benefited from your valuable words. Now, I request our head Department of Education, Faculty of Education, SVSU Meerut, Professor Dr. Anuj Raj sir, to kindly introduce our expert and invite him to reflect on this important theme.
Thank you, Shaliman. And really, it is a great pleasure for me that just I want to just introduce our today's guest speaker. And first of all, I thanks the Honorable Vice Chancellor and thanks to all those who are already join us for this online webinar. Today, we are just celebrating the International Day for Biological Diversity, and really, our speaker will just focus on the different aspects, because everybody is known that, okay, how can we just explain the biological diversity in India? Because there are so many things, such as specific. We can say that. Species diversity, genetic diversity, and there are the ecosystem diversity as focused by the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the university. And really, because We are taking the so much time, but our expert is waiting for the his expert note, and I just introduce myself in very brief of Dr. Sarath Pandey, because as Dr. Sarath Pandey is working as a Dean School of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries in Himgiri University, Dehradun. And Dr. Sarath Pandey has completed his PhD in genetic and plant breeding from GB Pant University, Pantnagar, and he also did his MSc Agriculture in genetic and plant breeding from Banaras Hindu University, Varanasi. And he has more than 15 years teaching experience, and he has also the very vast research experience in the field of genetic and plant breeding. And he has also awarded the Young Scientist Award by Uttarakhand State Council for Science and Technology. And he is also the National Builder Award 2019, Outstanding Scientist Award, Young Professor of the Year Award. He just hold these awards. He is a member of many scientific society and has published more than 20 research papers in reputed international journals. And is also the two innovation patents to his credit granted by Australian government. And really, he's a research area interest is genetic plant breeding and plant biotechnology. And he is also, if you talk about the extracurricular, he's a very good player of the table tennis. And really, sir, today we are just want listen to you. And in this occasion, I just invite the Dr. Sarath Pandeyji for the International Day and just focus on the diversity of India. Really welcome you, sir, for this online platform of the Swami Vivekananda Saraswati, Swami Vivekananda Subharti University, Meerut. Really, I welcome you, sir. Thank you, sir. Now, platform is yours, sir. Please.
Thank you, Dr. Anuj. Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
You are audible, sir.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank uh, Subharti University for giving me the chance to speak on this very important topic, biological diversity. To start with, first of all, I thank the Honorable Vice Chancellor of the University, Major General G.K. Thapliyal, Faculty of AYUSH, Faculty of Education, the organizers, and all the students and the listeners to this very important topic on biological diversity. As you can see, in today's webinar, when we are starting with, we already have diversity. Somebody is working in faculty of IUS, somebody is working in faculty of education, somebody is working in different departments. Myself, I am working as a dean in School of Agriculture. So already we have started with a diverse platform. Biological diversity, if we talk about, diversity means variation. And we all know that if there is variation, there is selection. If there is more and more variation, then we have the chance to make more and more selection. Good selection leads to sustainable development. If our selection process is faulty, then automatically the future generations either they will decline or they will not perform in a sustainable manner. If we talk about agriculture, sustainability is of prime importance nowadays. Why? Because the land holdings they are decreasing and the population is increasing. So we have to produce more and more food grains on depleting land resources. How it is possible? This is possible only when we have variation either naturally, variation is present natural also, or we have to create variation. We have to create variation by different methods. So before actually coming to how to create variation and how to do for selection, we should first talk about the biological diversity that I think I'll present. Is the slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Is the slide visible?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So when we are talking about biodiversity, we should see that this word is made up of the whole word biodiversity comprises of two words. If we split biodiversity, bio means life. Anything that is living we call as bio. Like our students they study biology. Biology means bio means life and logo means study. So when we are studying anything about the living organisms, it comes under biology. And we are talking about diversity. Diversity means variety. I already told that if there is greater and greater diversity, then it means that we have more variety, which further leads to we can go for good selection. For example, if we go to a shop and say that we want rice, and if the shopkeeper has different varieties of rice, we normally can select the best variety. Or if there is no rice in our home and some guests have come, we rush to a shop, he has only one variety, one bag of rice. We have no option but to buy that rice, whether it is a good rice variety or it is a bad rice variety. The purpose, objective, that moment is we have to feed the stomach of our guests. Meaning, we should aim for greater variety. We should aim for greater diversity. We all are academicians. When we are talking about diversity in our class, if there is greater diversity in our class, then we can make more good selection about good players, good educationists, learned students, intelligent students, slow learners, fast learners. This all we can do if there is greater diversity in our class also. So by diversity we mean variety. Now biodiversity, as you can see in the figure, it exists at every level. We can see a beautiful peacock dancing. We can see the beautiful flowers blooming. We can see the different birds that are hunting for the food, but some things we cannot see with the naked eyes. But yet, the diversity it exists at that level also. So, diversity in very common term it means variety. So, the variety or variability of organisms and ecosystem is referred to as biodiversity. Now, if we talk about the levels of biodiversity, since I am a man of genetics and plant breeding, I'll talk more of genetic diversity, the species diversity, and the ecosystem diversity. So, we should first understand the meaning of these terms genetic diversity. Whether we are students of science or humanities or any other branches, we know one word that is known as DNA. We all know that we have DNA within our cells, and this DNA is responsible for formation of different types of characters in our body. We also know that when the life begins, it begins with the fertilization. The male and the female gamete, whether it is a plant system, whether it is a human system, whether it is a microbial system, whether there is sexual reproduction, whether there is asexual reproduction. In sexual reproduction, there is union of male and female gamete. Then comes the zygote. Now, in the zygote, we cannot differentiate between what will give rise to brain, what will give rise to legs, what will give rise to uh, hands, nose, skin, etc. Likewise, in the plant system, we don't know in the zygote which cells will give rise to root system, which cells will give rise to shoot system. But as the zygote progresses, then there is differentiation, meaning special cells, they are aligning themselves to perform different types of functions. So some cells they will become root system, some cells will form the shoot system, etc. etc. Then, when a child is born, normally there is a question that the child resembles father or mother. This is the general question that is asked in all the families. हिंदी में कहते हैं किस पे गया है? So, what is that? That and there are differences between different children of the same parents also. So, how this is happening? This is the diversity or the variation that is happening at the DNA level. I told you that DNA, some part of the DNA that is known as genes, it is a small part of DNA which is known as genes. We normally say that we inherit good genes, bad genes from our parents, from our forefathers. So these genes they are responsible for formation of characters in our body. Normally genes are also affected by genes are also affected by the environment. For example, people living in the United States, people living in UK, people living in Arab countries, people living in India, they have different types of hair colors, hairstyles, skin colors. How this is happening? This is the interaction of the genes with the environment that we live. If we talk about the animal system, if we see the pets, dogs, the dogs that are living in the Himalayan region, they have huge amount of furs on their body, and the same things, dogs which are living in the Rajasthan region, they don't have. This is also variation, and this variation it is caused by the genes. You can see the different breeds of cows and buffaloes also. They also have different colors and different shapes. If we see the fishes also in the ponds, they have different shapes. They have different kinds of moving habits also. This is all controlled by the genes. This type of variation that is present is known as genetic diversity. Then, in the taxonomic classification, we have different species. Genus can be same. If we talk about agriculture, and if I talk about the wheat, the genus is the same, which is Triticum, but the species are different. Like Triticum aestivum is the wheat which we normally use in our homes. It is known as common bread wheat. Then there is another wheat, Triticum durum, that is used by the bakery industry to make the biscuits. So the DNA level, the chromosome level is also different. Genus remaining the same, but the species is different, is known as species diversity. And the ecosystem diversity means ecosystem means the surroundings in which we are living. It is also very, very diverse. You can see from the climate changes that is occurring now that the ecosystem are changing. So these are the three levels of biodiversity we talk about. Then species and taxonomy. Taxonomy means the science that is usually used to classify the things. To classify the things. Now we have seen the COVID regime. There were different kinds of viruses that were. When the government was trying to control one virus, another strain was coming. When that strain was being covered, another strain was coming, and the strains are continuously coming every day. But now, what we have done, the government has made preparations, and with the vaccination, we have also accustomed to the immune. We have increased our immunity, but the strains are continuously coming day by day. This is also diversity. We say that this is a virus, but the different strains of viruses they also come under diversity. So when we classify things, then it comes under the taxonomy. The highest classification is kingdom, and the lowest classification is the species. For example, we all are human beings. We belong to genus Homo, and the species is sapiens. We are Homo sapiens. The diversity of the subspecies. Within the species, diversity exists in the subspecies or geographic variations. This already I have covered that we should understand that the characters of any living things is governed by the genes. And the genes, they are interacting with the environment in which they are living. We also हिंदी में कहते हैं कि संगत का बहुत बड़ा असर पड़ता है. Whether we like it or not, with whom we are living with whom we are speaking with, or who are our friends, it affects our personality also. So this is the interaction of the genes with the environment, and that is why the diversity of subspecies it is coming into picture. You can see the different types of lions they are shown in the map. They are all are having different. All are lions, all are tigers, but something is known as China tiger, something is known as Indonesia tiger, and this is also known as geographical indicators. There are different plants also, different plants. Suppose there is a plant growing in an area, we can say that this area has low water because the plant is taking much of the water. They are known as GI plants, geographical indicators. So within these species also subspecies also exists, like the tiger Panthera tigris. It has 8 subspecies. Some have become extinct and some are still living. Now, what is the benefits of biodiversity? As the Honorable Vice Chancellor said, why we require biodiversity? Diversity we require, all have understood, because it creates variation and gives us more chance of selection. Now, why biodiversity? I will give you one simple example. There are many, many insects that feed on the other insects, which are known as beneficial insects. Not all insects are harmful. Some insects are beneficial also. Now, suppose a particular insect is feeding on the another insect, and that the insect who is caught, he sees that insect and flies away. That this is the insect. Now there is a diversity. If there is a diversity in the color, in the shape of that only insect which is beneficial, then the then the beneficial insect will be capable of harming the that different insect. Now we all know that life began in the water. We all know the two terms flora and fauna. Who doesn't like to see a rose flower having a different color, which is different color, which is different from the normal? Who will not like? Everybody will like a suppose purple rose. Normally we say red roses. But who will not like to see yellow roses, purple roses? If there is greater diversity, it gives, first of all, it gives greater variation. It gives us chances to select. It gives us chances to believe our eyes that we can create more variation by using this biodiversity. In plant breeding, what happens if there is a greater diversity in the plants, we can use that diversity to create a new variety. That is why now plant breeders they are working on creation of different types of varieties. If there is no variation, it means there is no differences in the DNA or in the genes, then there is no point making process and losing our time and labor. So biodiversity creates variation, which is important for everybody for our existence. Now, if we talk about our human system, there are lot many uh, microorganisms that are present in our body, in our stomach, in our intestine. There are lot many microorganisms that are present. If our body becomes resistant or immune to those type of microorganisms, they will not be able to do their job efficiently. If more and more, that is why more and more types and varieties of probiotic drinks they are coming, so as to increase the diverse population of microorganisms in our intestine, which will eventually enhance our digestive system. So biodiversity has lot many benefits, lot many benefits. What is the threats to biodiversity? Already Vice Chancellor sir has said that we only are responsible for disturbing the biodiversity. We all have seen that in earlier times we used to see different types of insects in and around us. We used to see different kinds of birds around us. We used to see different types of snakes around us, but now they are depleting. We are not able to see what we used to see in our childhood. This is the biggest threat to biodiversity. Urbanization is the biggest threat to biodiversity. We want, see, in agriculture land, I started with saying that we have to produce more and more on less land. What is happening now is people want to make money overnight. And in this process, we are disturbing our biological system. We are disturbing our land resources. We are using, farmers also, they want to get more and more yield from their crop. So we are using more and more chemical fertilizers, whereas we should go for organic farming. So urbanization, if we are disturbing the, see, there is a greatest example of this thing, the landslide that happened. Landslide that happened 2 years back. And why it happened? Because through the process of urbanization, through the process of human intervention, we tried to disturb the path of the river That was the natural part. So it is water. Water will make its own part. And because of that, there was such a huge mammoth thing that happened which we cannot forget. We cannot forget. Deforestation, we are disturbing the forest ecosystem. We are disturbing the forest ecosystem. Ultimately, we are disturbing the oxygen level. Then agricultural expansion is happening, eutrophication is happening, meaning we are disturbing the water bodies, forest fires, mining, environmental pollution, overgrazing. These are all the things that we usually do in our life. Why this thing is banned? Polythene is banned. Polythene is banned because it is not biodegradable. It is not biodegradable. It is and something is called it causes harm to our body also. So it is banned. So we should try to conserve our biodiversity. We should try wherever we are going on a picnic or a tour. If we see a good flower or a good pod which is having seed, we should try to bring it to our homes, sow it in a pot, and see what it gives. It, ultimately, it will be helpful in conserving the biodiversity. Conservation of biodiversity can be done by different methods, but in nutshell is that first we should understand biodiversity. Second, we should understand the importance of biodiversity. And third, we should understand the importance of biodiversity for our own existence. Then only when we see we all are very selfish. When we will see that this thing is beneficial for us, we will do that. When we take a probiotic drink, we usually read what are the microorganisms that are present in this. So, if there is a delta level of conservation of biodiversity, it will ultimately enrich our ecosystem, which will be visible in the form of more and more variations in all the living organisms. All the living organisms. We say normally we say that Korean is the clear. Why? Because it is becoming extinct by different forces. Forces may be many. So we should try to think upon it how to conserve the biodiversity. Steps to preserve biodiversity. Undistributed land should not be used for setting up industries and carrying out other development activities which causes large scale of deforestation. But unfortunately, this is all happening. Smart cities they are being built, the roads they are broadened, and the shelter trees that were present on the roadside they all are cut. Dehradun, I belong to Dehradun. I normally see that the greenery it is decreasing day by day. We should try to increase the green. Measures should be taken to reduce environmental pollution. Many steps we already know how to reduce the environmental pollution. Then effective measures for the conservation of biodiversity should be developed and strengthened in all countries. This is a policy issue. All the government should come forward along with the in the PPP mode to conserve the biodiversity. Now, Norman Myers he said, if we could safeguard biodiversity hotspots, what are hotspots? Hotspots means where a particular living thing is present in huge quantity. That particular spot is known as hotspot. We could reduce the number of extinct species by at least one third. Only thing what we require, we have to safeguard the hot spot. It should not be converted into cold spot. Hot spot should remain as hot spot. Now, how to do it? It is again a policy issue. However, global warming will shift temperature bands and vegetation communities, so it is a vulnerable thing. We all are seeing the shifting in the climate patterns. Now, Peter Careva said, parks are a valuable strategy for conservation, but they are not the most important strategy. Conservation cannot be just be about setting aside nature in parks, but rather must address working landscapes and human use of biological resources. Since our childhood, we are going to different kinds of parks, and there we can see the diversity. Whether it is diversity in terms of the butterflies, whether it is diversity in terms of centipedes. So we are already aware what is biodiversity. Only thing is that we have to be more vigilant. We have to be more concerned about biodiversity. So, in nutshell, if we see if we see that what is biodiversity, we understand that this is variation. It is present at all levels, whether microbes, humans, animals, everywhere it is present. Only thing is that we have to become more concerned about conservation of our biodiversity. I hope that with this small presentation, I have been able to make you understand what is biodiversity and what is the importance of biodiversity, and we should all come forward to conserve the biodiversity. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, sir. That was a very knowledgeable speech on this important topic. Now we are approaching the end of this webinar, and so I request Dr. Neeraj Nayan Rishi from Faculty of AYUSH to propose vote of thanks.
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Salini ma'am, Faculty of Education from Vivekanand Suharti University, giving me this opportunity to give the vote of thanks. Distinguished guests, brothers and sisters, and all my students, I stand before you today with a profound sense of gratitude and appreciation as we gather here to express the heartfelt thank of extraordinary biological diversity that graces our magnificent land of in India. So India is a land where the biodiversity found a lot of flora and fauna is found from Himalayan range to the Western Ghats, and Western Ghats is also well known and world heritage for biodiversity, which is located in India in the Western Ghat, which is located in the Karnataka and Goa and Maharashtra and Kerala, and these are the world heritage of biodiversity, and lot of flora and fauna exist in our country. First and foremost, I would like to extend my deepest gratitude to Mother Nature itself for grant upon a treasure of growth of diverse or ecosystem landscape and life form that makes the India truly unique. Our heartfelt thank to Dr. Atu Krishnan sir, founder Swami Vivekananda Swati University. I would like to thank Dr. Salya Raj, CEO SVSU. I would like to express my sincere thank to Mrs. Stuti ma'am, Chancellor SVSU. I express the thanks to Dr. G.K. Thapliyal sir, Vice Chancellor SVSU. And also, I would like to express the thanks to Dr. Abhay M. Sankaregowda sir, Pro VC SBSU, for giving me this opportunity to organize this webinar on biological diversity in India on the occasion of International Biodiversity Day. And I have heartfelt thank goes to our special speaker, a very nice speaker, Dr. Sarath Pandey, Dean, Department of Agriculture, Forestry and Fisheries from Himgiri G University, Dehradun, Uttarakhand. And thank you once upon, sir, guest speaker, sir. I thank you. And also, I will heartful thank goes to all the deans, HOIs, researcher, academician, students, public who joined in this webinar and made this webinar very successful. I would like to extend our gratitude to Press, Media, Environment Committee of SBSU, organizing team of Faculty of Education and Faculty of AYUSH of this webinar. We also extend our gratitude to government and the policymaker for their unwavering commitment to preservation of our biological diversity. Their effort was establishing the protected areas, enacting wildlife protection law, implementing the conservation programs, which have played a crucial role for safeguard of our natural heritage for the future generation. And their vision and dedication continue to inspire hope and demonstrate importance of environment step forward. So our Indian government also took initiative a lot of for giving the protected areas like national parks, sanctuaries to protect the biodiversity in India. Last but not the least, I would also like to express our deepest gratitude to each and every one of you present here today. Your presence signifies your commitment and concern for the protection and biological diversity. Your support, whether through the direct action, education, or simplify spreading awareness, invaluable and in ensuring the long-term survival of diverse ecosystem and species in India. In conclusion, as we gather here to express our gratitude for the biological diversity in India, let us be reminded of our responsibility of cherish and protect the precious heritage. Let us continue the work together, hand to hand, to create the sustainable future that celebrates and embraces the wonders of life in the India has been blessed with. Thank you one and all, and thank you for all the presence in this webinar. Jai Hind, Jai Subharti.